We're so glad to have you here again on the channel. Today we continue with part 2 of the powerful and emotional story, The Queen Who Chose Them. Quick recap of part 1. We met Rachel Thompson, a 32-year-old woman living in Lagos whose life was torn apart when her husband left her after years of infertility. But in her deepest moment of loss, she discovered 5 orphan girls in a child welfare center. Girls no one wanted. She chose them, raised them alone, and through sacrifice and love, she built a legacy. Each daughter grew into a remarkable woman, carrying Rachel's strength with them into the world. Now in part 2, we dive deeper into their incredible success stories, the unforgettable wedding that made headlines, and how Rachel's impact rippled far beyond her home. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the rest of this beautiful journey. Let's continue the story of a woman who chose love and became a legend. It was a year of divine timing. The 5 daughters Rachel Thompson raised through love, not blood, all gave birth within the same year, each child arriving like a continuation of their mother's story. Eden, the eldest, was the first. Her twin girls came early, surprising everyone. She named them Ray and Ellie, in honor of the woman who made her life possible, Rachel. Not just because of the names, Eden said, but because they carry the legacy of a woman who mothered nations. Zara followed with a baby boy she named Milo, a bright-eyed child with the quiet gaze of a thinker. The twins, Amara and Amira, each had a daughter within months of each other, Nova and Nia, full of laughter and boldness. Elora, the youngest and the most musical of the sisters, delivered last, a son named Zion, who came into the world as gospel music played softly in the background. The year brought tears of joy, stories retold, and celebrations that echoed through every corner of Lagos. Though Rachel Thompson had passed just 2 years before, her presence filled every room. Her daughters often whispered she would have cried seeing this, and somehow they all believed she was watching. The queen who chose them had planted roots so deep, even death couldn't erase a touch. Rachel's house in Surulere, now painted warm sunflower yellow, became a rotating door of visiting grandchildren. Each child had a crib in Mama's room, kept exactly as Rachel left it. Eden made sure of it. On Sundays, the house buzzed with the sound of small feet, cousins laughing, and the gospel choir Rachel once loved playing softly in the background. The neighborhood called it the house that still breathed, because even though Rachel was gone, her love never left. It lived in every picture frame, every scripture note stuck to the fridge, every wooden spoon still hanging by the kitchen window. The twins hung wind chimes in the front porch so Mama can still hum with the wind. On what would have been Rachel's 63rd birthday, the daughters gathered with their children in matching Ankara outfits. They planted 5 rose bushes in the garden, one for each grandchild born that year. And beside each rose, they placed a photo of Rachel holding one of them as babies. "Legacy isn't buried," Eden said that day. "It blooms." But the world hadn't healed just because theirs had. One hot Tuesday afternoon, as Eden left Elora's house, she passed a small crowd gathered near the edge of the street. Her heart stopped when she saw a 7-year-old boy collapsed on the ground, school uniform dusty, lips cracked. Beside him stood a 9-year-old girl, his sister crying helplessly. "He was hungry," she whispered. "He fainted from hunger." Eden didn't wait. She called for help, flagged a passing tricycle, and rushed him to the nearest hospital. But it was too late. The boy died that evening, with no family but a sister, no meals but the hope of one. That night, none of the sisters could sleep. They had children now. They had once been those children. At 5 a.m., a message pinged their family WhatsApp group. Eden had typed, "We need to do something. Let's start where she would have at the table." Within weeks, plans were underway. The sisters pooled resources. Amara designed the interiors. Zara sorted logistics. Elora used her influence to raise awareness. What started as an idea became a movement. Months later, a new building opened in Surulere, a free restaurant for underprivileged schoolchildren. They called it Mummy Rachel's Table. Every day after school, the building filled with hungry children, their eyes wide with gratitude. They were served warm meals, jollof rice, beans, moi moi, even puff puff on Fridays. More importantly, they were served with dignity. No lines too long, no plates too small. As the restaurant's story went viral, donations poured in money, food supplies, even offers to fund staff salaries. Local food producers pledged monthly support. But it wasn't just the children who were fed. It was the soul of the community that was nourished, all in the name of a woman who once turned pain into purpose. Christmas arrived with celebration. All 5 daughters and their families returned home. They gave out gifts, sang carols, and served meals to over 300 children. Rachel's grandchildren handed out toys while wearing Team Mama Rachel aprons. Laughter rang louder than the old radio ever could. Then Eden saw him, an old man, thin and hunched, struggling to move through the crowd. She blinked, looked again, and froze. "It's him," she whispered. "It's Matthew, Matthew, the man who left Rachel 27 years ago without a word. Her husband, their would-have-been father, the man who walked away when there were no children to hold. He now stood in line, hungry, unseen, until now." Eden approached him slowly. "Sir, do you know this place?" Matthew turned, and his eyes sunken and hollow met hers. He didn't recognize her. Not yet. Not until she whispered, "Rachel's daughter." He froze, tears brimmed. "Is she?" "She passed," Eden said, voice steady. "But she lives in all of us." Later that night, they told the others. Some were angry, some confused. But they all remembered their mother's heart. The next day, they found where he lived, a tiny gatekeeper's quarters near the market. Eden returned with Amira. "You left her when she had nothing," Amira said, "but she still gave us everything." Matthew wept as he told the truth. "I didn't leave because I stopped loving her. I left because I thought I failed her. I couldn't give her a child. I thought she'd be better without me." Amira said only 5 words. "You should have let her decide." They didn't forgive him because he asked. They forgave him because Rachel would have. Eden offered him a job managing deliveries for the restaurant. Zara set up a medical checkup. Elora quietly paid his rent. He became part of the neighborhood again, not as the man who walked away, but as the man who stayed this time. At the next fundraiser, he stood behind the food counter, wearing a Mummy Rachel's table cap. A reporter asked him who he was. He replied, "Just someone who was fed by her love twice." At her grave, he finally knelt. "Thank you, Rachel," he whispered, "for raising daughters strong enough to do what I couldn't." And there, in that quiet garden, Rachel's forgiveness bloomed once more. That year, Rachel was posthumously awarded a national medal for humanitarian impact. Eden and Elora accepted it in her name. Her story was featured in documentaries, newspapers, podcasts, but the girls never let the world forget. It wasn't just charity, it was healing. Amara and Amira launched an initiative to train young mothers in tailoring and fashion. Zara opened a digital academy for girls in STEM. Elora headlined a concert in honor of the mother who chose us. The world now saw what they had always known. Rachel wasn't just their mother, she was a queen. And when asked what they missed most, Eden smiled and said, her stories at night, her voice saying, "You are safe." Because in the end, that was Rachel's true legacy: safety in a world that often forgets how to give it. In her old garden, now a public space named the Queen's Rest, a plaque stands tall. She didn't birth them, but she built them. She didn't plan this life, but she made it sacred. Ray and Ellie, now 8, often visit with their cousins. They water the roses, read stories under the mango tree, and ask questions about a woman they never met, but somehow always feel. Once a year on Rachel Thompson Day, people gather from all over Nigeria to feed children, plant roses, and tell stories of the woman who turned grief into glory. Her daughters still gather, not just as mothers, but as women carrying a vision. They built more branches of the free restaurant across Nigeria. They launched Rachel's Rising, a foundation for abandoned children and women recovering from loss. And in every child they feed, every woman they shelter, every room filled with laughter, Rachel lives. Not as a ghost, not as memory, but as breath, as love. She didn't get the life she prayed for, but she lived the life that changed the world. And as her granddaughter Nova once said during a school presentation, "My grandma didn't give birth to queens, she raised them." What part of Rachel's story touched you the most? Share your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life inspired stories that heal and uplift.